It is said that when he speaks, it's intelligence, but when he is silent, it's war. And that's exactly what happened. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, the man who sits at the helm of India's national security architecture, kept mum all through these days since the Pahalgam terror attack. No speaking, no addressing, not seen in meetings beyond the two cabinet committee on security meetings that took place, in where he played an active role, briefing the Prime Minister about what were the possibilities, what were the options. Remember, the first CCS took place on April 23, a day after the dastardly Pahalgam terror attack, where the NSA was seen animatedly explaining to the Prime Minister what all had happened and what had to be done or could be done. Prime Minister gave the brief to the CCS that they should come back with clear options. The National Security Team, led by Ajit Doval, and of course, which includes the Chief of Defence Staff, the three service chiefs of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and of course the other agencies which play a crucial role in information gathering. The Research and Analysis Wing, RAW as it is called, India's external intelligence agency, the IB, which takes care of intelligence within, the NTRO, which is a crucial arm of RAW, which gathers TACINT, which is technological intelligence, and of course ISRO, which gathers satellite data. Everyone was involved, including the BSF, because they have ground intelligence along the border, because they are the active force in peacetime along India's international border. And that's where all the data gathering began, information gathering began, validation of whatever intelligence that agencies already had begun. And by the time the second CCS happened on April 29, the plan was in place, the options were in place for the Prime Minister to give a go-ahead, which he did, following which he made an address where he said that a free hand had been given to forces to avenge the Pahalgam terror attack, and that's when the contours of Operation Sindoor started taking shape. So obviously no one would speak and this never happens. But then you saw, in terms of those hints coming in of the policy of hot pursuit, about which Prime Minister spoke while he was in Bihar, that India is going to chase the perpetrators of Pahalgam terror attack till the end of the earth, as also target the soil from which those attacks emanated. Message was clear that India yet again would go after Pakistan, its terror proxies, and all the infrastructure that operates from Pakistani soil. Operation Sindoor was essentially about collating all data, gathering all intelligence, connecting the dots, and then zeroing down on specific targets, the organizations, the individuals, the places, the locations, everything intelligence based and not in any manner indiscriminate. And that really lends value and a moral cover to the operation that India has carried out by way of Operation Sindoor. It was carried out in a manner that Pakistan was clearly foxed. So be it India's mobilization of its naval force and carrying out of live fire exercises in the Arabian Sea with great numbers of warships mobilized, be it India's air exercises that were carried out in the central sector, giving Pakistan some confusion about what all India was up to while the borders remained silent. And the reason why the borders were silent were because the army was carrying out a plan. The targets were to be hit with kamikaze drones and with the beyond visual range missiles of the Indian Air Force, and no passing of, crossing of the border or the LOC. Those targets were hit, and how? Look at the pictures that have come in that give you an idea of the kind of precision with which the Operation Sindoor has been executed. Those pictures that were shared by India with the rest of the world in that press briefing by the Ministry of Defence and Ministry of External Affairs. Behind all this was the man and the mind of that man, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who was up all night. And the moment the operation was executed, he was working the phones to give a diplomatic edge to India, speaking to as many as dozen odd national security advisors of these nations, his respective counterparts from the United States, from the United Kingdom, from Japan to South Korea, France, and of course, crucially, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates in West Asia. NSA Doval then, of course, readied for a briefing of the Cabinet Committee on Security, the third one, in which success was announced, following which, of course, Prime Minister in the Cabinet congratulated our armed forces. That's how Operation Sindoor was executed, in complete silence, with great resolve, and of course, the wherewithal and the superior competence of India's armed forces, and more crucially, our security intelligence apparatus helmed by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval.